हॅलो माईक चेक. हॅलो हॅलो माईक चेक 1 2 3. हॅलो हॅलो माईक चेक 1 2 3. तो बंद आहे. हॅलो माईक चेक 1 2 3. हॅलो.
Hello, check, check. Hello, mic check.
everybody doing today? naysaying, get them out. If you're talking about your dreams and goals and they give small, sarcastic remarks, my debut album,
years, she'd save $2,500. She went to Chicago.
A very good evening to one and all. On behalf of the Director Sir, Deputy Director Sir, faculty, and the students of the Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, I, Kaustubh,
And I, Swipnim.
welcome you all for today's inaugural ceremony of the batch 2024-26. Ayam nijah paro veti ganana laghu chetasam udarjaitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. This shlok means, the small-minded divide the world into mine and yours, but the noble see the world as one family, opening all doors. The motto, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, is not just a guiding principle for the Symbiosis International University, but a legacy of its founder, Dr. S.B. Mujumdar Sir. This ethos is evident in the university's inclusive environment that nurtures and supports students from all backgrounds.
As we begin today's proceedings, we would like to welcome our esteemed guests. Our chief guest of the day, Mr. Subir Bakshi Sir, Head of People and Culture, Pocket FM. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Vidya Yerudekar ma'am, Pro-Chancellor and Principal Director, SIU. We welcome you, ma'am. Brigadier Dr. Rajiv Divekar, sir, Dean Faculty of Management, SIU and Director, SIMS, and Dr. Praveen Kumar Bhoyer, sir, Deputy Director, SIMS. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the dignitaries with a huge round of applause.
I would now request our esteemed dignitaries to come forward on the stage to light the lamp.
या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा.
It is my pleasure to introduce you all to our institute. Established in 1993, SIMS is a premium management institute constantly ranked among the top B schools in India. As a proud constituent of the prestigious Symbiosis International University, SIMS stand out as a unique MBA institute showcasing a successful public-private partnership between Symbiosis International University and the Ministry of Defense. The flagship MBA program primarily serves defense personnel and their dependents, with a limited number of seats available for civilian candidates. This ideal blend of defense dependents and civilian fosters a dynamic environment promoting holistic development and bringing out the best in both groups. It is now a pleasure to introduce you all to our director, Brigadier Dr. Rajiv Divekar, sir.
Sir is the Dean for Faculty of Management, SIU, and Director of SIMS. He has served as Head of Faculty, Strategic and Operational Studies at. We welcome sir to address the batch.
Thank you, and sorry, we're running a little late, so I thought, plus they know me very well by now. We had to start a little late because Dr. Vidya had a commitment. Somebody passed away, so she had to go there. That's why, otherwise we always start on time. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all of you to SIMS. Respected Dr. Vidya Yaravdekar, Pro-Chancellor, Symbiosis International University, Mr. Subir Bakshi, Head of People and Culture, Pocket FM, and SIMS alumnus, Dr. Praveen Kumar, Deputy Director, faculty, and dear transformational student leaders of the 32nd MBA batch 2024-26. The greatest joy to parents is to see the transformation in their child. I'm sure your parents must have felt the same when you sent them the video that I had asked you. I hope you did so on the very first day at SIMS before the commencement of the orientation, and now just 3 days later, as I had asked you. Though it's only 3 days, I'm sure the transformation must have been significant and they must have really observed that. Along with your parents, your faculty, and I, we feel so happy to see how you all have transformed from motley individuals to confident, smart student managers in just these 3 days. And I was very happy to see during the various auditorium sessions with guest speakers, the way you confidently asked questions. I could see that transformation had taken place. Of course, there's more to it. This is the start of the 2-year MBA, and you still have 2 years to go. If the start is so transformational, I'm sanguine that by the end of 2 years, each one of you would have been fully transformed. That is why we in SIMS call you transformational student leaders. Technology provides you the facility to record, view at any time, and keep for years anything that you desire. And that is why I'd asked you to record yourself on your mobile phone on the very first day, and again on the last day of the orientation, which is another 13 days from now. You will be able to see the distinct transformation in you. Preserve it, as years later, you can show it to your kids and grandkids when they sit with you on your lap and say, what did you do in SIMS, grandma or grandpa? And I'm sure they will be impressed and in awe. You're all going through one of the most challenging experiential 2-credit course called Transformation from Student to Corporate. It's tough, demanding, challenging, yet full of variety, fun, and excitement. It is an intense package meant to help you know yourself, your potential, learn time management, teamwork, and empathy, and bring out the best in you. Starting from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., it has, in addition to classroom teaching, sessions of PT, games, yoga, meditation, Zumba, hip-hop dance, motivational speakers, Swachh Bharat, which you'll be doing tomorrow morning, business exercise, individual and team assignments, indoor and outdoor management games. Again, you'll be doing management games tomorrow. Institutional social responsibility, alumni talks, specialization talks, stress management through music, which is one of the most entertaining one, which will be on 15th, Saturday. Market survey, and of course, SIMS as talent. So much of talent here in front. I'm happy to see you all have taken it as a mission to transform yourself, are participating actively, working hard, and doing well. I now see the confidence in your voice, the spring in your walk, and the positive body language you exude. That this transformation is taking place is similar to the transformation from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Not only will you turn out to be beautiful, but you will spring wings which can take you wherever you desire. But then, just as it takes a lot of self-effort for a caterpillar to emerge as a butterfly from its cocoon, you too will have to put in lots of effort in each activity of the orientation to emerge with wings. The onus is on you. We, the faculty, act as catalysts while SIMS provides the facilities and opportunities. And what a great way to start your 2-year MBA. You all are truly blessed to have the Honorable Pro-Chancellor to bless you and invoke you for your 2 years MBA journey. It's an honor, and it happens only in Symbiosis International University. It doesn't happen in other universities. And now here else, and nowhere else in any other university. You are all fortunate and blessed to also have a top experienced corporate who is also a SIMS alumnus and who was like you all 25 years ago, sitting in the auditorium. Of course, SIMS, this campus didn't exist. It was in 15th Prabhat Lane, pre-primary school. You are sitting comfortably in an auditorium. They were sitting on those small benches that kids 5 years and 6 years sat on as 22-year-olds. And he is here to address you and share his knowledge and experience of corporate life so that you are aware and better prepared and can work accordingly. There are many other counts too for which you should feel lucky and blessed to be in SIMS, and I'll recount them so that you can feel proud. You are now in SIU, which has an A++ grading, is a category 1 university, which very few universities have, and is ranked 20th in the National Institutional Ranking Framework. In an institute, SIMS, whose fees are concessional, and you are paying just 40 to 60% of what others pay in other Symbiosis institutes, and I told you that yesterday. Yet, you get the same facilities, benefits, opportunities, infrastructure, and faculty. You are in an institute that is unique, well-known, and recognized. An institute meant primarily for defense dependents, set up by Dr. Mujumdar 32 years ago, when CSR was not even coined. Forget talking and doing it. It was his vision and love and respect of the armed forces that he started SIMS and nurtured it. Dr. Vidya, Pro-Chancellor, who too has an armed forces connection through her husband, Dr. Rajiv Yaravdekar, has a soft corner for SIMS and has taken special interest in the growth and development of SIMS. You all should be grateful and beholden to Dr. S.B. Majumdar for giving you this unique opportunity. We have the best of faculty, including visiting faculty, who will not only be giving you knowledge, but will be your guide, coach, and mentor for these 2 years. And one more thing that you can be proud of, which came out yesterday, was the international QS rankings, which is considered one of the best rankings in the world. And Symbiosis entered it for the first time, and we made a grand entry, while others, when they enter, they are ranked somewhere around 2,000 or 1,200 or 1,500. We are ranked in 601 to 640 internationally. In India, we are the second best private deemed university. We are also first in India in the employer relationship. So you can see where we are and how fortunate you are. Now, why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this to tell you of your lineage, your heritage, and the culture of Symbiosis and SIMS. SIMS and Symbiosis has provided you with all that is required and prepared the grounds for you to do well. Now, it's your turn to prove that you can do it. We expect you to do well and develop yourself holistically and as a leader and a manager. I had briefed you in detail on 3rd June, a day prior to the commencement of your orientation course, that is transformation from student to corporate, on what to expect so that you do well. I have already briefed you in detail on 4th June, all about SIMS, the 2 years MBA curricular, co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So here, I would reiterate a few aspects of what to expect and what is expected of you. We are an educational institute meant to give you quality education. We provide facilities, encouragement, and an opportunity to develop yourself. However, placement is in your hands. We do not assure placements. We get companies for placements. You have to get yourself selected. We have during the year lots of activities, events, all aimed at your development. I urge you all to participate in them. You will not get these later in life, even if you pay for them. We have lots of clubs, cells, teams, which give you an opportunity to be a part of, participate, to hone your leadership skills, organizing capability and planning skills, cooperation, teamwork, and time management. We get guest speakers to share their knowledge and experience. We have alumni, mentoring, corporate shadowing, and live projects. And Subir Bakshi was also actively involved in mentoring and of students, as well as conducting GD sessions before their placements, which helped them immensely 3 years back when COVID was on. And then we have Coursera and Swayam access, which are given to each one of you, and I'm happy that many of you have already completed some Coursera courses. SIM's objective is not just to provide you quality education, but to make you into dynamic leaders, efficient managers, and out-of-box thinkers who are responsible citizens and ethical business people and compassionate, caring, and empathetic humans. I have said earlier too, time goes by pretty fast. Imagine, today is already the 4th day since you've come. So do not procrastinate, or else you will regret later. First and foremost, decide and make a note of what your aim or goal is in SIMS. That should be in relation to what you see yourself 5 to 10 years ago. And that's exactly what Rishi Kapil also said so day before. Then make a roadmap to reach there. Discuss it with your faculty during the mentoring sessions and finalize it. It will help you immensely because it will help you to focus and then walk in that way. Remember to aim high. Most of us set our targets low and feel happy when we achieve them, even though we are capable of much more. Next, make friends and network. You are lucky that you are 300 of you. Imagine the networking that you can do and which can help you later. These are the guys who will support you not just here in SIMS but later in life too. And then there will be 300 of the senior batch, and next year 300 of the junior batch, 900 people who will be in your network. And live up to SIM's motto of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is world is one family. Be a global citizen. Don't limit yourself to just being in India. And finally, remember SIM's motto, make a difference. We in SIMS are working to make a difference in you so that at the end of 2 years, you are competent to make a difference to the nation you belong, to the society you serve, to the company you work in, to the family you are from, and to SIMS, your alma mater for life, and of course, your own self. With that, thank you, God bless, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for motivating the transformational leaders.
नार्यस्तु राष्ट्रस्य श्वः नारी समाजस्य कुशल वास्तुकार. Swapnim, do you know meaning of these Sanskrit lines?
Indeed, Kaustubh. These verses originate from Devi Mahatmyam, recounting the tale of Mahisasur Mardini. They convey that women are the foundation of a nation's future and the skill builders of the society. These lines perfectly encapsulate the essence of our upcoming guest. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my immense pleasure to introduce today Dr. Vidya Yeravadekar. I'm really sorry, ma'am. Dr. Vidya Yeravadekar, ma'am. Dr. Vidya, ma'am, serves as the Pro-Chancellor of Symbiosis International University and the Principal Director of the Symbiosis Society. These are the roles through which she has made an indelible impact on the landscape of higher education in India and beyond. Symbiosis International University, under Dr. Vidya ma'am's visionary leadership, stands as a beacon of multidisciplinary, multinational, and multicultural education. The university proudly hosts over 45,000 students hailing from every state in India and 85 countries around the world. The Symbiosis Society encompasses not just a university, but also K-12 schools, the College of Arts and Commerce, and significant cultural institutions.
Dr. Vidya ma'am's academic credentials are as impressive as her leadership roles. She holds a postgraduate degree in medicine, a degree in law, and a PhD in internationalization of higher education in India. Her scholarly contributions include numerous research publications and several authored books, reflecting her deep commitment to the advancement of education. Ranked number 14 among India's top 25 powerful women, Dr. Vidya ma'am has been instrumental in bringing innovative approaches to the internationalization of higher education in India.
Dr. Vidya ma'am has been a pivotal figure in the implementation of National Education Policy 2020, serving on the UGC Expert Group for Global Outreach of Higher Education. Her advisory roles include membership in the World Bank's ASA, the International Association of Universities for the Global Survey on Internationalization, and the Board of Trustees of Muscat University. In addition to her educational leadership, ma'am is the chairperson of the FICCI Committee on Higher Education. She is the vice president of the Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industries and Agriculture. Her commitment to promote Brand India is evident through her membership in the India Brand Equity Foundation Trust. We welcome ma'am on the podium to address the batch.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I was just telling Brigadier Devekar that listening to my introduction, first of all, it's very embarrassing for someone sitting here to go listen to something so long. And the second is probably you as students must be thinking that ये इतने सारे boards पे बैठी है तो Symbiosis में काम करती है या नहीं? So I do work for Symbiosis primarily, and thanks to Symbiosis that I sit on so many different boards and committees, etc. But coming to this program, Brigadier Devekar, the director of this institution, our dear alumnus Subir Bakshi, who studied not here in this prestigious campus, but studied at SIMS, but in a very, very small campus, which was in the 15th lane of Prabhat Road. Someday you all must go and see the school building, and then you realize what a humble beginning of SIMS was when Dr. Muzumdar decided to establish this institution. As Dr. Divekar very rightly said, this was an institution that came out of the passion or commitment for the cause of what the defense personnel have been doing for the country. There used to be a professor in SIBM by the name of Mr. Balasubramaniam, Professor Balasubramaniam, and he, was he a Subedar? Yeah, right. So he retired as a Subedar and then took to teaching. And he used to teach in some college in Chennai and then wanted to come here to Maharashtra and then to Pune city. And I still remember he walked into Dr. Muzumdar sir's office and asked for a job. And looking at him and his, a very disciplined attitude, his communication skills, Dr. Muzumdar sir told him to join immediately. He was so much in tears because he said that, sir, I couldn't have imagined anywhere down south that I went for a job and I got a job immediately the same day. Probably people would have asked me for money or some kind of reference from a politician or something. Here I'm standing in front of you and you're offering me a job. And then Professor Bala became a part of the Symbiosis family, so much so that he lived on the Symbiosis campus, became the warden of our boys' hostel, and I remember him taking care of the boys and girls as a warden and also teaching at SIBM. So one evening he told Dr. Muzumdar that we should start or do something for the children of defense personnel. And when Dr. Muzumdar asked him to elaborate, initially he told him that we could start maybe distance learning programs, courses, or do something for the education of the children. And immediately, as Dr. Muzumdar actually needs just an idea from somewhere, he has to start an institution. And he immediately told him that, yes, let's start, first of all, a Department of Management Studies, and later it became an Institute of Management Studies, and that's how SIMS was born. But we didn't have any campus other than the Senapati Bapat Road campus that many of you would have seen, or you can still go and see. That's the first campus of Symbiosis. So we didn't know where, or Dr. Muzumdar didn't know where this institution will be established. And then when he looked around, he said, the school building is anyways empty after 2 p.m. because the school children attend their classes from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So he called up the principal, again an army officer's wife, Neena Singh, and asked her that what happens in the school building after 2 p.m. And Mrs. Singh told him, sir, the school is empty. So he said, okay, no problem. We'll start an MBA institution there. And that's how SIMS began. And Subir was a part of that journey. And he sat on the same, as Brigadier Divekar said, on the same desks and chairs where 9th and 10th standard students would sit. And they would start their sessions after 2:30 p.m. and those sessions will go on and on till 9:30, 10, 11 at times, because industry people came and taught at SIMS. SIMS became very popular, not just amongst the defense personnel and their children, but also amongst people. I mean, everybody wanted admission in SIMS, and therefore 10% of the seats were also kept for people who didn't come from the defense background. One day it so happened that George Fernandez was the defense minister then, and he came to know through maybe someone, general working with him or some army officer, that there is such an institution in Pune. So during his visit to Pune, he called Dr. Muzumdar and said, I would like to come and see this institution. So Dr. Muzumdar sir was a little embarrassed. He said, sir, there is no institution. We actually function in a school building. He said, but I would like to come there and talk to the students because I've heard a lot about this institution. And George Fernandez came, and when he interacted with the students, saw their confidence level, their communication skills, the way they presented to him, he immediately granted 4 acres of land for SIMS, which is the land where we are. A land, first time in the history of probably the defense ministry, that 4 acres of defense land was given to a civil organization. And that's how we created this beautiful campus, which was again inaugurated by George Fernandez later. So this has been the history from a very humble beginning to what it is today. And I must put on record that whoever I meet in the industry, top corporate bigwigs who talk to me about how our alumni are doing in the corporate world, they always have to say that the best people or the best students who work with us are the students of SIMS. And I've said this in every induction program. No, I've said this in every induction program only at SIMS and not any other institution of symbiosis, because this is true. And I think it's the characteristic of the way you've been brought up by your family members and in an ecosystem which is so disciplined, which is so committed, and so dedicated, that I think that exudes out of your personalities as well. And of course, the grooming and the academic rigor that your faculty members and your director imparts into you. Therefore, because you're flexible, you're willing to go anywhere to serve, that's the biggest asset. That's what the corporate world needs. They need people who are not just knowledgeable, but flexible, amenable, and willing to do, what is required by that organization. And I think all of you fit in so well because of the sanskars that you have been brought up in, and the same sanskars being accentuated by the teachings here and the academic rigor and the whole ecosystem at SIMS. Brigadier Devekar just said that, it's been 3 days or 4 days since you're here, and what did you say? You click a picture of you and send it to your parents, right? Take a video of you and send it to your parents. I'd just like to quote a small anecdote. I was at lunch with my father, and there was a person who visited him from his village. And there is a student who's sitting here in the audience who is the son of this person. And he was telling Dr. Muzumdar that when he came 3 days later, I think the boy has joined 3 days back, right? Yeah. So yesterday when he came and he was waiting for this boy to come and, he was looking out for his son, and the son came and touched his feet and he didn't recognize his son. He said, I was so shocked because the beard had gone, the hair was cut, there was a tie and there's such a nice shirt and pant that he was wearing, that it really felt so nice that my child has been transformed in 3 days. Imagine in 2 years what will happen to my child. So I think a big round of applause, sir, to you specifically. And to all the faculty members, because if this kind of transformation can happen in 3 days, imagine after 2 years how well you will be transformed, and transformed like someone like Subir. Look at his confidence level, the way he will now address you, and the kind of events that he participates in at SIMS is something that is so dear, in this whole symbiosis culture. This morning I was in a meeting in an online meeting with our alumni from Dubai. We've established a campus in Dubai, which has started, but the admissions will go on, and the actual campus will commission from September. So I had a group of alumni with whom I was interacting from different institutions of symbiosis, many from SIMS. In fact, Amit Puri, one of your very senior alumnus, was also on the call. And I was just telling them that how they should be associated and they should come and teach and, mentor students and so on. And they were so excited and they were so connected. And each one of them said that, ma'am, for the 2 years in our life that we were at Symbiosis, many of them from SIMS also, changed our lives totally. The kind of personalities that we built at Symbiosis, there's something in the culture of Symbiosis that changes us. And we see our colleagues from different institutions, they don't have as much of attachment to their alma mater as much as we have. Just a call, a WhatsApp away. All of them are connected with me on WhatsApp from wherever in the world that they are. And, they're really a WhatsApp away or a call away, and they're there to help, Symbiosis. They're there to help all of you. And that's the connect that we create in Symbiosis. So I'm sure people like Subir, in the morning I was at SCMHRD, there was another alumnus there called Nikhil Dwivedi, who's now an actor, actually passed out MBA of SCMHRD and became an actor and producer in the film industry. And he had the same thing to say and tell the students that the 2 years that he was at SCMHRD changed and transformed his life. And therefore, take this, these 2 years very seriously. I know that you might think that this is a lot of gyan that must have been given to you, but every person who's sitting here in the front row, in the second row, and your director, deputy director, and now me, but it is so true. Because your parents have really invested a lot of money, paying Symbiosis fees are pretty high. SIMS is slightly lower than others, but even then, And so much of investment goes in your education, and you must give back to not just yourself but to your families. And therefore put in hard work, be committed to what you're doing. Of course, have fun and enjoy. This is a lovely place. The city is full of young people, very vibrant. But alongside, ensure that these 2 years are spent in the most meaningful way, so that it's not just that your lives are transformed, but you transform lives of several people around you, whether it's your families, communities that you live in, and many more. So with these few words, I once again welcome you to this large Symbiosis family, and we hope that this name Symbiosis gets attached to you for your lives. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being a constant source of motivation for all of us.
I would now request Dr. Vidya Girodkar ma'am to welcome and felicitate our chief guest of the day, Mr. Subir Bakshi sir. Thank you, ma'am. We would like to take the opportunity to welcome and introduce our chief guest for the day, Mr. Subir Bakshi sir.
Subir sir graduated from SIMS in 2001, and in the last 2 decades, he has built a career in HR across multiple industries and roles. He started out in IT services, working for Cognizant before moving to organizational consulting, where he spent 15 years in firms like Mercer, Towers Watson, Aon, and he led the business as the head of consulting practice, first in India and then in Singapore for the region. He was awarded the prestigious Chairman's Award in recognition of his contributions at Towers Watson.
He moved to in-house HR roles in 2017, and in his last role, he was heading talent strategy for PhonePe. He is currently heading HR globally for Pocket FM, a fast-growing unicorn with operations in 4 continents. On the personal side, Subir sir comes from old family, military family. As a child, he has lived in various places in India while accompanying his family as they moved to different cantonments. He is one of a twin, and his twin brother is an alumnus of NID Ahmedabad, pursuing a design career.
Subir sir is married to Mishti ma'am, who also happens to be a classmate from SIMS, and is currently working for Deutsche Bank in HR. They parent 2 school-going teenage boys, and among his hobbies and interests, if there is one thing that stands out about him, it is his obsessive reading habit.
It would be challenging to summarize a career spanning more than 2 decades in a few paragraphs and do justice to it. To provide you a summary, Subir sir is a turnaround specialist and a people leader. He has prioritized roles where HR can make a visible contribution to the success of the business. He believes that his best is yet to come. On the personal side, he sees himself as a very ordinary, friendly and grounded person, trying to be a good human being and a worthy citizen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Subir Bakshi sir with a huge round of applause.
Thank you. Am I audible in the back? Okay, please call me Subir if you have to. We are done with sirs. That was something that we were started with when we started SIMS. It's hard for me to explain the feelings I have right now, because 25 years ago in 1999, to the month, I was sitting like you in the audience, unsure of my future, awed by some other people who were my batchmates. They were full of confidence. Some were so impressive because of their achievements. And, you have that excitement, you have that nervousness. And you never thought that one day you'll be called on stage to be the chief guest to your own institution. So very, very, very deeply honored. Thank you, sir, for having me here. I'd also like to add that for my admission to SIMS, the person on the panel was Dr. Vidya, and I don't think she'll remember, but you remember everything. Even now, 25 years ago, my memory is crystal clear. You will also remember your placements, your 2 years in SIMS just in the same light. And I remember, I think the question that had got me in was, I was a student of zoology. And there's a story there also. So I was a student of zoology, and I mentioned that I'm one of a twin, and she says identical or fraternal. I didn't know that time she was a medical doctor. So I said fraternal. And she says, what is it called in scientific terms? And I managed to get the answer right. It was dizygotic twins. And I think I saw her nodding. I said, that's when I made it. I have been a lifelong learner. Like it was mentioned that I read a lot. I've tried to add more skills. It's something we all will have to do. We all have to do. But while I've added skills and knowledge, the one credential that I'm most proud of is the fact that I'm from SIMS. I have not tried to, a lot of people add more credentials to their LinkedIn profiles, to their CVs. While I have done all of that, I still want to be identified as a SIMSite. So for that, I'm creating this institution. To you and your father, ma'am, thank you very much. I thought hard about what could I share with you people which you will find useful. And I thought the one thing that I could do is look back on my own life, look at experiences from there, and share those more like, being further down the road. I look back and I say, these are the guiding points that you could use in your own life. I don't want to pontificate, take them with a pinch of salt. If you see value in them, retain them. But I'll share with you what some of my experiences have been. There are three things that I'd like to talk about. First of them is the question that all of you will be concerned about. How can we be successful? The second one is, what is the point of our careers? But before we go to any one of those, I think the question or the wish that I have for you as an alumnus, as I'm looking back to all of you young people starting out in their careers, what do I wish for you? So I'm going to share a few insights, and that is, I want you all to be wildly successful. And I know this wish will come true because you are at the right place at the right time. No country in the world has the long-term 2 to 3 decade positive macro view that India does. It's a young economy, it's a growing economy, it's going to hit the magical number of per capita GDP, which is 3,500. After that, economists say magic happens. You are just on the right time. So this is the best place to be at this point in time. Something very peculiar is happening in the world of technology. Let's get your vocal cords sorted. How many people here are engineers, if you don't mind raising your hands? Okay, don't be shy, I know there are more of you. Okay, good. So, not just for the engineers, but for anyone who may know this, what is Moore's law? Shy people don't get placed here. Moore's law. Any computer science students here? Okay, so I'm assuming all of you are feeling shy about this. Moore's law essentially says that every year, it was initially every 2 years, the computing power of a chip doubles. In simple terms, for $100, you can do far more calculations. And the idea is that it's not really a law of physics, but it is something which companies like Intel, AMD, they pioneered, they invested, and the chip sizes started becoming smaller and smaller. It also meant that you could do far more with a computing chip, and it became far more cheaply available than it did in the past. Now, a lot of these chip advancements started in the 60s, and it's been more or less doubling every year. With NVIDIA coming along and with the new generative AI chips that it's working on, it's looking like it's beating the Moore's law handsomely. There were some concerns on the physics side of it to say, how can you compress so many compressors, so many capacitors into the chip? But now it's starting to make a lot of sense. The thing that comes through is, where are we today? Before I answer that question, let's just look at where this parable of the chessboard comes along. Okay, how many people who studied maths? Okay, good. Oh, fair bit. Nice. Okay, so you know the parable of the chessboard where the inventor of chess is called by the king and he's asked saying, give me one, what do you want as a reward for this? And the inventor says, give me 1 grain of rice in the first part of the chessboard, first, and then keep doubling that. And the king agrees. Before his ministers come and tell him, there is not enough rice in the granary, or we've not heard of the kind of numbers that this person is talking about. What was interesting was that every move up the chessboard, every block that you go to, is larger than all the previous blocks combined. And when you take in a chessboard the second half of the chessboard, if you start counting the grains of rice, the numbers become exponential. The reason why I asked how many people are here from maths, because they understand exponential curves. Humans mostly cannot. Most humans, when you explain exponential growth of compounding, finance people will also understand this, compounding, most people don't get it. So I'm reiterating this point. So just like we've seen exponential growth doubling every year of rice, when you combine that with what I shared with you about chips, you are seeing computational power advance so quickly that for $100, you will find technology everywhere. The implication for you is the world that you know will never be the same. It's constantly changing. You have to build a future where you're adapted for it, and that future will keep evolving, and there's no going back. You'll keep thinking about nostalgia, but the time that I could think of, even 25 years back, how things were similar to today, you are going to face every 5-10 years. You'll have to think in horizons to say 5 years later, I need to reinvent my career. 10 years later, I need to be in a different skill, and so on. So again, it should not scare anyone. It's a positive development. There's a lot of fear or scare of AI. Yes, some of it is genuinely founded. Social media, for example, is programming us. So there is some fear, but humanity has always found a way. I'm sure we will here as well. But if I were to wish something for you, and that is to be wildly successful, and for that you're in the right place, right country, and with the way technology is evolving, it's something that's going to benefit all of us. Second thing I want to talk about is how to be successful. So this part gets a little controversial, but the strongest indicator of job success is IQ. The higher your IQ, the more successful you will be, especially if the task is complex. More complex the task, higher IQ people will be more successful. I don't think we should take IQ as some sort of gift or some sort of aspect to be hidden or be sensitive about. It's no different from your height or the family you are born to. It's something which you've inherited. Now, why that is important is only if you recognize this can you take the next steps that are important for your career. If you are a 120 IQ engineer in a company where everyone else is a 160 IQ engineer on an average, you will not be successful. You will always look sorry in comparison to those people. It's been studied by doctors that in the medical profession itself, someone who's a higher IQ doctor outperforms by a margin of 3-4x a doctor who's on a lower level of the IQ. So time and again you see this, wherever higher IQ people go and operate in people with lower IQ brackets, those people are turning out to be more successful. Why is this insight important? We are all very aspirational about where we want to go. We all want to work with the most prestigious teams, most prestigious names, and we think that's some measure of success. The problem is if you go there too early, you walk away with experiences of failure. You walk away with your esteem totally destroyed. So it's very important for you to appreciate what's your standing and what's the field that you're going to choose. Okay, so that's the first point I'd like to say. Second point I'd like to say is, what does success mean to you? Success could be fame, could be money, could be power. Actually, if you get money and power, you'll also get fame. It could be health, it could be family. But rarely will you get all of them. It needs a lot of luck. So what do you need to be successful? You need a lot of luck. Now luck cuts both ways. I know a lot of people who have been wildly successful, and then there are a lot of people who, I know some batchmates of mine who lost their lives for reasons that we still find hard to reconcile with. And then I know batchmates who are millionaires, living the sort of life that only young people are envious of. So luck cuts both ways. What I'd recommend is that you try and increase your luck surface area. Now, a lot has been written about luck surface area. Anyone here has heard of Naval Ravikant? Good, good. Naval Ravikant. So Naval Ravikant is an investor in Silicon Valley, and he's one of those, when you talk about philosophers, earlier you used to have people like Socrates and Aristotle. What we are finding is that there are newer sorts of people who are coming along, and they come from nowhere, and they bring uncommon insights, and some of them are really powerful. So you should look up Naval Ravikant. He talks about what kind of luck is there and how do you increase your luck surface area. I'll give you my version of it. If you've chosen the right field, if you're in the right field where your IQ is as much or if not more than the people around who you are working, you are in a lucky spot. Beyond that, you have to work hard. Please do not believe anyone who tells you, and this is my 25 years speaking here, anyone who tells you that it's going to be smart work, you don't have to work hard. If you're not working hard, you're not going to make it. Doesn't matter how smart you are. It's the old parable of the rabbit and the tortoise. We've seen it time and again. Consistency is key. That's one thing that I would say is important. Now, going back to what I'd shared earlier about being in the right field, making sure you're not in a field where you're dominated by people with higher IQ. The problem is that the reverse is also true. If you are working with people with higher IQ than you learn more. But you should go in with your eyes open. You shouldn't be competing with them. You are learning from them. Maybe working alongside them, seeing what they do things. Because what you do is you shortcut some of the learning processes by saying, okay, why do I have to try 10 different experiments? I know this is the one that works. So how do you find that balance? My recommendation is early in your career, work for companies in whatever role. Look at roles, don't look at compensation. Look at roles where you'll be paid less because they'll say your contributions we know will be lesser than the others we have on the team. But look for the right role where you learn. And as you progress in that, as you pick up skills, as you pick up value professionally, that's when you start going to the other side and say, let me now trade it for money. But if you try and trade money early, I've seen most careers, they start washing out at around 40 years of age. They become consultants. Because you don't forget that it's a pyramid. Not everyone becomes a CEO. And how do you start dropping off? Some people have health issues. So many factors. Let's not talk about the negative parts of things, but it's something that should be carefully considered. Okay, so if I were to recommend, what would I recommend? I think you heard I married a batchmate. I chose family. I chose to take opportunities as they came. I graduated in 2001, which the batch of 2000 argues was not the worst year to graduate from SIMS, but I'm telling you 2001 was the dot-com burst. Those of you who read will remember it was the worst job crisis ever. I was placed in a company called Mastech Systems, and I was very happy. And I was placed for about 2.4 lakhs. And that time it was a decent compensation. The only people who were paying more were ICICI Bank, which was paying 3.6 lakhs. There were some outrageous offers, like ANZ Bank had offered some 8 lakhs fixed, 9.5 lakhs for some global package. And then there are some people who'd gone international. But that was a decent package, that was the median, if I may say. And then they said, don't join in September. I didn't panic. I said, I'm going to go hiking in Kangra Valley. I've been studying all through. This is good. And within 2 weeks, they came back and said, don't join at all. And for the next 3 to 6 months, I tried everything to stay employed. That's when, it suddenly hit home to say that all my batchmates are getting ahead of me, all those, the fear that you have of being left behind, everything came to bite. There were others like me, but a lot of people were happily employed in jobs, and only those who'd chosen tech were the ones who were struggling. No lesson there, just gratitude. The people who helped me, and I'll name them actually. Girivas Vaidyanathan in Cognizant, he called me for an interview. Ikbir Bedi of 98 batch, he said, why don't you come and interview? And they offered contract roles. But there was an interesting insight that did come through, was I was keen to do strategic stuff. I thought I'll do some cool stuff and add more prestigious credentials to my CV. I started working on something called PCMM, People Capability Maturity Model. It was a certification framework for HR, very popular. Nobody wanted it. When the demand came within 2 to 3 years, it was over. Fortunately, I didn't stick too long with it. I got into Cognizant and I said I want to do comp and ben. In HR, compensation and benefits is one of the most glamorous, sought after functions. And I realized that while I'm doing this, and I have the prestige of working in CNB, the attention is all going to the recruiters who are like salespeople. When the sales guys in a tech company close a deal, it's generally contingent to them showing that you have enough seats, enough people in the seats. You must have 60 .NET resources. So these guys were the ones who used to actually close the deal. So recruiters were as important to the company as the salespeople, and the visibility was huge. Recruiters had a terrible life. They used to work 6 to 7 days a week, 5 days during regular office, and then weekend. So Saturdays was drive, Sunday was putting reports together. I assure you, all those people are doing very well now, and all the people who are doing strategic work early in their career have fizzled out somehow. I chose to join hiring only because I saw this trend early. And because I had been laid off, I realized I need to have value which company sees in the contributions a person makes. That's why I shifted to hiring. And that was one switch that I made, which allows me to give you this bit of advice, take it for what it's worth. Do the hard stuff early in your career. Take that sales job. Go to that market that is growing. Work with teams that are tough but fair. And if you try and do more of I want to do investment banking and I want to work in Goldman Sachs, please compare how you stack up with other people there. And the only way you can get, if you're really, really, really ambitious about that, then really make sure that when you stand up next to them, you know as much as the other people you're competing with from institutes that are more, who have better placements or who have a better track record of having successful people in those roles. Which now brings me to the last point I want to make, and that is, what is the point of our career? I'm going to share a model from Nicholas Taleb, Nassim Nicholas Taleb. He was a bond trader in Morgan Stanley. Has anyone read Nicholas Taleb here? Very good. Okay. Can you name any book from him? Okay, good. So Nicholas Taleb is a data philosopher. That's what I like to see him. And he came up with this concept of extremistan and mediocristan. Extremistan is where the odds of success are extreme. So if you look at Amitabh Bachchan, he's a film star and he's been India's reigning film star for 50 years now? But he started out as a humble struggler in Bombay. Every day, the number of strugglers who reach Bombay to be successful is probably in thousands. They start off doing odd jobs, being waiters, and looking for opportunities to be successful in those movies. And one of them goes on to become Amitabh Bachchan or a Lata Mangeshkar. Those are the fields which are given to extremistan. Virat Kohli. Are you getting the picture of what extremistan means? Sorry? Yeah, okay. I want to make this interactive, so I'm just setting you all up. After that, I'd like to have questions. So, on the other hand, you have mediocristan. Mediocrity sounds bad. Who wants to be mediocre? But when you actually look at the numbers, the wins from extremistan environment, Amitabh Bachchan must be worth millions of dollars, crores of rupees. On the other hand, people who go on to become bankers, some banker will go on to become a head of retail banking for a bank like HDFC, while others may through their career, their own batchmate may go as far as being the branch manager of Kalyani Nagar branch. Okay, that sort of disparity happens. Right place, right time, luck. But in the end, the value that they will accumulate will be probably in 5 or 10 crores apart at the end of their retirement. They'll have a car, one will drive a Mercedes, the other will drive a Hyundai Creta. They'll have a house, they'll have a bank balance, they'll live comfortably. They're not very far apart. They both are in mediocristan. And the only difference is, compared to a lot of other, let's take say sportsmen and others, you get to have a family, you get to have health, and you get to have decent amount of money. This is mediocristan. And far more people reach here than failing. We keep hearing about dream on and live your dream, do whatever it takes for you to live your dream. The problem with that is it doesn't talk about all the people who fail. And 99% of the people fail in that. So my question to you is, what are you choosing? A job or a career? If you're choosing a career, it's extremistan. If you're choosing a job, then it's mediocristan. My recommendation to you is, your expectations will change as the idealism will change, as you'll get younger, as you'll get older. You'll realize that the things that you want or you consider important will keep changing. You can't predict who that person will be at this point in time. You can try, but you can't. So as long as possible, stay in the zone of being able to achieve all of them, money, family, health. Don't give up any one of them. The answer that I have to provide to you is balance. Okay? Only once it becomes obvious to you as to what do you want as you get to know yourself, you'll have to close those. 2 things that you can't wait is health and financial security. Even if you're going to aim for some sort of career success, you can't you can't do it without financial security. You don't want to be an old person without any retirement or savings and so on. So, quiz time, okay? How many here applied for or tried to join the army? Yes, you all make me proud, okay? Because I was so convinced I wanted to join the army. I took BSc because that was lesser studies. I scored 52% in my 10th and 58% in 12th because I thought that's all that it's required to be. And if there is any hope that you can take from someone who's an average student who today is being called as a chief guest here, it should be me. But the thing I wanted to bring up because of this was, can anyone tell me who won India's first Paramveer Chakra? Okay, I wouldn't have expected anything lesser from a defense affiliated institute, so thank you. But whenever I ask this question from most other people, people can't answer. And most people, by the way, didn't know the answer. Who here can tell me in which, who won India's first Olympic gold medal? Sure? Someone sure? Okay. Okay, someone knows. Does anyone know who is E. Sridharan? Okay. Does E. Sridharan? Okay. What's the answer? Very good. Very good. Which year did P.T. Usha win her, and what medal did she win? P.T. Usha? Okay, there's a point to this. The point was not to embarrass you or check your general knowledge. How many people here know Harshad Mehta? See, there's a point to this story. You don't know there'll be a bust of somebody on the crossing, some statue, and you'll never bother to find out who that is. There'll be a road that you'll be traveling on named after some famous personality, and you really don't care who that is. There is something glorious about doing famous things and being forgotten than doing something infamous and being remembered for it. And we remember infamous things. So the point I want to take to you is, What does success mean? This is example on integrity. You could get to be very rich, very powerful, but you will not have honor. Will that be acceptable? Or if you would be someone with just honor, but a poor honorable, like the stereotype that they describe of teachers, very honorable, very respected teacher in the community, but not very well off. I'm not saying any choice is bad. I wish you to be wildly successful in whatever field you choose, but I'm not saying one is better than the other. But you need to think hard as to what it is. I've offered you certain models. I've talked about extremistan, mediocristan. I've given you a framework to think. Don't go to environments where you're not ready and operating or competing with people with much higher IQ than you. I've talked about how you will eventually have to take a choice to say, what do you want from your career and what does success mean for you? And last question then is, what are you prepared to trade for it? Suppose you want money. Are you prepared to trade your health? Because there will be companies that will make you work 7 days a week, nearly 16, 17 hours a day, and you'll learn a lot. You'll get responsibility early. And when you're younger, you can do a lot of these things. So you do all of that, you'll get there, but at what cost? So as you're starting your 2-year SIMS journey, the most memorable period of your lives, I'd like you to think where you want to be. My recommendation is, I couldn't plan so far. I decided to go for mediocristan. I decided to go for taking life as it came, as someone who graduated from SIMS at a time when there were no jobs. I decided I'm going to work for financially strong companies, and I decided to work hard. And everything else that happened has brought me here today, for which I'm grateful. And that's what I'd like to offer to all of you as my bit of advice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will have a couple of questions from our student managers.
We'll just have 1 or 2 because.
Okay, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. So my question to you is, through your varied experiences across industries, what changes have you seen in different industries' HR practices?
Thank you for that question. So in the time that I've been working, it's interesting that IT services was the hottest industry. Infosys and Narayan Murthy was a legend in people's house, and they brought some of the best practices from the US. In that time, we saw telecom companies grow, then we saw private banking companies grow, and all of a sudden, India was in a tearing rush to grow. There were pharma companies that came out of Hyderabad, which were offering lots of jobs. I remember Dr. Reddy's used to be a very, very prestigious employer in campus, firms like that. But these companies were far more measured about how they saw HR. And it took some time to realize, when you hear that MNC companies have better culture, MNC companies have culture built on fear of litigation. The laws in European countries, in American countries, is very strict on labor compliance. In India, we didn't have anything that protected white-collar workers. Lots of protections, labor laws for blue-collar workers, but hardly any. We've seen that journey evolve since the time I started working, where more and more Indian companies are becoming conscious of ensuring good HR practices for their workforce.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. My name is Pratiksha Kakate, Echo 26. And my question to you is, having worked in various industries and now leading people and culture at Pocket FM, what were the challenges that you faced while managing the talent in the fast-paced environment?
That's a tough question because each industry has its own set of challenges. The problem with fast-paced industries is that, unlike technology and systems which can be changed very quickly, attitudes and behaviors take time for people to adjust. When you suddenly disturb someone's schedule also, they are off balance. And they being off balance means that behavioral issues emerge from there, and that becomes, so fast-paced companies, this is a huge issue about how quickly can you make changes and how quickly will people be able to keep up with those changes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now we would like to acknowledge and highlight certain exceptional individuals from the batch of 2024-26. These students have stood out during the year's pre-orientation activities, where over the past month, the students had undergone e-primer test. We are pleased to announce that the top performers have excelled, and we are here to acknowledge them. We request our chief guest, Mr. Subir Bakshi sir, to please come forward to recognize the students who have scored the highest in the e-primer test. Securing the first position is Miss Vatsala Singh. Following closely in second position, we have Mr. Avinash Yadav. In third position, we have Ms. Kajol. Thank you, sir.
With this, we also acknowledge the students who were the first ones to enroll for the batch of 2024-26. We request Dr. Vidya Yarodekar ma'am to please come forward to recognize the students. First is Mr. Abhinav Sood from the Open Defense category. Next is Mr. Ruturaj Satish from the Industry Sponsored category. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. As we conclude today's inaugural ceremony, we now request our Deputy Director, Dr. Praveen Kumar Bhoyer, sir, to please give the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, I extend our heartfelt thanks to all for making today's MBA batch 2024-26 inauguration ceremony a memorable event. First and foremost, we express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Vidya Yarodekar, Pro-Chancellor, Symbiosis International University, for gracing this occasion with her presence and addressing the new batch. Your inspiring words have set a positive tone for our new students' journey ahead. A special thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Subir Bakshi, Head of People and Culture at Pocket FM. Mr. Bakshi, your insightful address will significantly impact our students' academic journey and corporate career perspectives. Your invaluable contribution to building high-performing teams and fostering a culture of excellence at Pocket FM, along with your leadership in driving the company's hyper-growth and global expansion, is commendable and serves as a great inspiration to all of us. I also extend our appreciation to Brigadier Dr. Rajiv Devekar, Dean Faculty of Management, Symbiosis International University, Director of SIMS, for his warm welcome address. Your highlights on the progress and achievements of SIMS have provided a clear vision of the brighter future ahead. Thanks to Dr. Sanul, academic in charge of SIMS, and the dedicated staff and faculty members of SIMS who meticulously organized this program. You ensured the smooth execution of this event, and we are truly grateful for your efforts. Last but not least, I thank the SIMS student representative SSR for helping the newly ordained batch students and looking after them during the orientation period. We look forward to promising academic journey ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. This concludes today's ceremony. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Subir Bakshi, sir, Dr. Vidya Yarodekar, ma'am, our director, Brigadier Dr. Raju Devekar, sir, and the deputy director, Dr. Praveen Kumar Bhoyar, sir, for gracing us with their presence today.
Now, I would like to request the dignitaries to please proceed to the VIP lounge and student managers to remain seated.